Welcome to Shul.com. We are learning from the laws of Shabbat, the Hilchot Shabbat of Rabbi Nachson. We are up to the size of the candles or the amount of oil. Let's take a look. He says the candles or oils should be enough when you put them inside for Shabbat to prepare them to last until one is finished eating the Shabbat meal on Friday night. So if you know that you're going to light the candles and you're going to go to Shul and come back and it's going to be 2 hours plus or whatever, make sure you have enough oil that's going to last you all the way until the end of the meal. He brings that down, and he brings down Shulchan Aruch 263-9, and he says there is no need to have the candles last throughout the night while one is sleeping, and doing so is considered wasting. So he brings that down from Torah Lishma subsection 76, that you don't have to actually have it the whole night. It'll be extra oil for no reason, but you should have it at least until the end of the meal. It says that on Sarah Imenu, she would light the candles from one Shabbat and it would end on the other Shabbat. So when we were in Brooklyn a few years ago, I was very intrigued by this and I wanted to know, obviously it was a miracle. She didn't put a lot of oil, because she put a lot of oil into the vessel, there wouldn't be a miracle and the Hachamim wouldn't point it out. So seemingly she didn't put a lot. So I did a test over the course of many months, testing many different types of oils and pitilot, and I was successful using a regular measure of oil in a regular vessel that my wife would use to light it from Friday until Tuesday. And after testing this, I proved it to my wife. My wife didn't believe me initially when I showed her that if you do a couple of different things, we did a lot of interesting things. We would soak the wicks in oil over the course of time. We used different wicks, different floaters, different types of oil. We tested a lot of different, but what it showed me is that there are methods that you can do to actually have the oil last 2, 3, 4 days after Shabbat and not actually put a lot of oil. And so that was kind of interesting. We didn't do it for the sake of wasting oil, but in regards to see how long we can get it to light. It was beautiful. You know, you come on Monday morning, you wake up and you see the oil is still going. You feel the Kiddushah of Shabbat. It would last till Tuesday. I couldn't get it to stay after Tuesday, but it's kind of interesting because they say Wednesday is the start of the new week. You know, that's why you say Shavuot Tov until Tuesday, and then on Wednesday you start saying Shabbat Shalom. Havdalah till Tuesday, and you can finish the Shnai Mikra Achad Targum. You got the parasha, you want to catch up, you can finish until Tuesday. Till Tuesday. Let's continue.
Can I go back from Noah?
Oh, you can always go back, but they say if you want to finish what's called Mashlim Im HaSibur, Mashlim Im HaSibur means you can finish until Tuesday. You have time to finish it each day or until Tuesday. Okay, the laws of lighting candles when one is going into another house as a guest for Shabbat will be discussed below. We're going to get into what happens when you're visiting somebody's house and you're not home. You're invited. Do you light in their house because you're eating the meal there? Do you light at home? We'll take a look at that. Let's go into Hadlakat Nerot of Yom Tov, of the holidays. Just like on Erev Shabbat, it's a mitzvah to light candles on Yom Tov at night with a beracha. Let's continue. When Erev Yom Tov is on Erev Shabbat, when they coincide together, where Yom Tov is Shabbat and you have to light on Friday night, one should cite the beracha of Lahadlik Ner Shel Shabbat Ve Yom Tov. You add Ve Yom Tov, you put both. And let's say if she forgot to add the words Ve Yom Tov, she just said Shabbat, she doesn't have to recite another beracha. She's covered. If she just said Lahadlik Ner Shel Shabbat, she forgot Yom Tov, it's okay. She's good. Next, a woman should preferably not recite a Shehecheyanu when lighting the Yom Tov candles, and she should instead rely on the blessing that her husband will recite during the Kiddush, because during Yom Tov, we say Shehecheyanu. So a wife or the lady shouldn't say it when she's lighting the candles, rather have kavanah, and the husband should have kavanah for her and the family when he's doing that Shehecheyanu. Even though one may light a candle from an existing flame on Yom Tov, it is praiseworthy to light the candles while it is still Erev Yom Tov. Okay, from before, when Yom Tov is not on Motzei Shabbat, obviously, because you can't do on Motzei Shabbat, you can't light before. But let's say it's on a regular weekday, not on Motzei Shabbat, you should try to light the candles before, while it's still Erev, not when the night itself came. Just as one would on Erev Shabbat. You don't light on Erev Shabbat when it's nightfall, you light before. And not delay to light them until it is already Yom Tov. When Yom Tov Sheni, the second day in Galut, where we're in America or outside of Israel, falls out on Shabbat, a ben chutz la'aretz, or chul, someone that's outside of Israel, may fulfill his obligation of lighting Shabbat and Yom Tov candles through the lighting of a ben Eretz Yisrael, if he's staying at his house for Shabbat, even though the ben Eretz Yisrael will not be including Yom Tov in the beracha upon lighting. You got that one? I'll repeat it again. When Yom Tov Sheni falls out on Shabbat, the second day, meaning it was already Yom Tov on Friday, so you lit the first on Thursday night, and then you have the second, right? A ben chutz la'aretz, somebody who lives outside of America, may fulfill his obligation of lighting the Shabbat and Yom Tov candles through the lighting of someone that is a ben Eretz Yisrael. What do you mean? Let's say Yossi, he lives in Israel, and he only has to follow one day of the holiday. But let's say he's in America, and he has to light the candle of Shabbat. Can he be Yotzei Mi with his lighting on the second day of the Yom Tov that is also Shabbat?
So including both.
Yeah, but no, he's only, let's say he's staying by my house.
Yeah, for you.
For me, can he include me? He's staying by my house, can he include me? And even though the Ben Eretz Yisrael will not be including Yom Tov in the Beracha upon lighting, he can be Yotzeyu. Interesting. You see that? So someone from Israel comes to visit somebody from America. It's the second day of the holiday, which happens to also be Shabbat. He can light the candles for somebody in the house that lives in America, even though he's just saying Ladlik Ner Shel Shabbat and not even saying Yom Tov. He'd be Yotzehim. And he brings this down from the Yalkut Yosef, Shabbat, Volume 1, Book 2, page 122. When Yom Tov is on Motzei Shabbat, the candles may not be lit until Shabbat is fully over. Let's continue. When one may remove old wax candles inside the candle holders with a knife on Yom Tov, so that there will be room to place new candles in them. Let's say you used wax and the wax filled up the whole entire container where you put them in. You can clean it out on Yom Tov in order to fit the other wax candle inside. On Yom Tov, one may cut the bottom of a candle to make it fit into the candlestick. He should preferably do this by hand. However, when inserting the candle into the candlestick, one may not melt the bottom of the candle with a flame to help it stay in place. Sometimes you put a flame on the bottom in order for the wax to melt, in order for it to keep it standing. You can't do that on Shabbat. He brings down over here from the reason for this is that we are afraid a person may come to smooth the softened wax if he loses its shape, and that would be asur, as brought down by the Chayei Adam 92-2, Mishnah B'Daf 514-18, and others that he says here. Last one over here is when setting up floating wicks for hadlakat nerot. If you do it in oil, the wick should be put into the floaters before Yom Tov. Okay? You know that you put the wick inside the floater and then you put it inside. Try to prepare all of those before Yom Tov. If one did not do so, you should use wax candles instead. Don't actually use that one. If one does not have wax candles,
Prepare the oil before.
not the oil, the floater and the wick. Put them both together. You know how you have to put the wick inside the hole of the floater?
Taco creation.
Yeah, you should put that in from before. Let's say if he does not have wax candles, he may rely on the opinions that permit one to place the wick into the floater on Yom Tov. Let's read. He has a big note on the bottom here. However, one may not separate the floaters if they are attached to each other on Yom Tov. Let's say sometimes you buy them and they come all wrapped together in a bundle. You can't separate those on Yom Tov. So he says here, and he brings down that the Ashrei Ish Volume 3 1-5 point out that even though one may insert the wick into the floater on Yom Tov, many times one still needs to remove the middle piece of the floater to allow the wick to be inserted. Sometimes there's a hole in the floater and you got to stick the wick inside, but sometimes like the hole, it's like semi-removed. It's like this. It's like they make the hole and they do it, but it's still there. You have to poke it out. You have to finish that last poking. In such an instance, one may not insert the wick, since by doing so, one is completing the floater by creating a hole in its center, which is also considered tearing. Therefore, one should prepare the floaters before Yom Tov to avoid such issues. Interesting. So
for the second night you're talking about.
This is on any Yom Tov.
No, but Yom Tov, obviously you're gonna prepare it before Yom Tov.
Yeah, it's talking about the second, exactly.
It's talking about the
Second, yes, second. Obviously, before it's the first night, you can do it. It's a chol. Yeah, so it's talking about when you're on Yom Tov lighting for the second, where you have to make sure that you either prepare the wick and the floater together, Or if you're going to put it in there, let's say because you forgot, just make sure that the hole is there, because if you're going to finish that, then you're actually completing the floater, and it would be a problem. And then he recommends using wax candles instead.
Now, you mentioned that a woman should not say Shechianu because the man is going to do it.
Yes.
So why even mention that? I mean,
Oh, because some of the Sidurim put in there that you say Shechianu, and sometimes the women may not have learned or have all the verses, all the halachot well, so if they see it in the book, they might think that they have to do it. So he's bringing down, no, according to Chama Bajia Yosef and according to the opinions, no.
Sephardic,
Yes, Sephardic. We're teaching.
And Ashkenazim, they do say it?
We'll leave. Well, it's not that I'm not going to say I don't know. I don't want to go into. I want to focus specifically on this Sephardim, but we do bring down Ashkenaz opinions in the book. But the bottom line that he brings is Chama Bajia, that you should be careful. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen.